Hi guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Tejimola Akinwande. If you are a new subscriber, thank you very much for stopping by. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much. I appreciate. So from the thumbnail, I'm sure you already know what we're talking about today. And I want to talk a bit about the culture shocks I experienced when I got into Canada. But they are not bad, they are just culture. They are the culture shock, like the they are different from what obtained where I was coming from in that's Lagos, Nigeria. So it's not like a bad thing. It's just that they shocked me and then they affected me in different kind of ways. I mean, culture shocks happen to people differently. I reacted to it differently, you know. So the way the culture shock dealt with me personally, I went from, being actually shocked to denial, then to depression, and then to healing, and then finally to accepting the realities of Canada. So that's just what I want to talk about today. But I also like to, start from the things you do when you get to Canada and all that before I delve right into the culture shock part. So let's get right into it. So I want to start by saying that when you're coming to a new country, the right thing and the proper thing to do is to Google where you're coming to, make your research, know what you're doing, know what you're coming to meet in the country or whatever, even in a state, know what you're coming to meet, know how easy to get a job, how easy to get accommodation, how cheap or expensive or how affordable the cost of living is. Just know these details, what benefits you would get when you get into the country. Know all these things. These are very, very good as they will prepare you for the country or the state you're moving to. So we already knew that, oh, we're coming to Ontario because, of course, Ontario nominated us. But where exactly in Ontario? It took us about months. I mean, months or weeks. Let me say weeks to decide which city in Ontario we would like to reside. It took us weeks because there were so many considerations we were looking at. Firstly, for me, I was looking for proximity, somewhere that is close to where the good jobs are. I was not about to go to somewhere far away from the city center where I'll have to travel all the way down to the city center. I wanted a job that is at least close to Toronto. You make your own research and know what works for you, okay? So we did that, and then we knew that we're coming to Greater Toronto area. And then, so when we got to the airport, we bought our SIM card. The next day, we went to get our Ontario health card because this is like the card that you need to access healthcare in Canada. If you don't have this card, you're going to pay through your nose to have access to healthcare. So you need that. And then you also need your SIN, that's a social insurance number. This is like your identification number to show that, oh, this person reside in Canada. So you need that. Whatever, if you want to get a job, if you want to buy a house, if you want to get a loan, you need like an SIN to do all that. So it's very necessary. Then the third thing we did was to open an account. So we did that as well. And everything was going great. And it was time to get a job, right? So we started looking for job. We started, sending our CVs to companies and all that. But we're not quite getting feedbacks. So it was later that we decided to seek help. We went, we spoke to some people, and then they told us that the resume format in Canada is entirely different from the resume in any other country. Why is the resume different? Why is Canadian resume different? What's so special about Canadian resume? That was my first culture shock. Unlike back home where I was coming from, that you can have about 5 pages of resume. Canada, you don't need 5 pages, 4 pages, no matter how many years of experience you've had. You don't need all that. Canadian employers want to see about 1 to 2 pages max. If you have about 10 years of experience, and you know all these 10 years of experience cannot fit into 2 pages, okay, yes, you can extend it to 3 pages, but maximum 2 pages. I personally would say that if your experience is more than, if you have that experience like 10 years ago, I feel like it's outdated because you can't compare 10 years ago to what happens now. So many things have changed in the last 10 years. And what is that experience doing in your CV? Did you recertify? Have you recertified? That's personally my opinion. And if you've done some just one thing consistently for 10 years, okay, well, great for you. I would say put that in. So try as much as possible to cut the irrelevancy of your resume. And then I also figured that in Canada there is no such thing as a universal resume. Back home in Nigeria, I used one resume to get all my jobs that I got in Nigeria. I used just one resume. I was just updating my experiences. As I gained more experience, I updated it out and I used just one resume. But here in Canada, there's no such thing. But the same role, employer A has different job description and employer B has another entirely different job description. You know, so the job title is something that you are familiar with, is something you are skilled at, but their job descriptions are kind of different. If you want to apply to the company A and company B at the same time, then you need to create different resume for them. Company A's resume has to be tailored to what you see on their website. Company B's resume has to be tailored. This shocked me to my bone marrow. I was just shocked, like what's the meaning of what's going on really? But that is actually how it works. I'm not going to say lie in your resume. No, be honest, but try as much as possible to tailor your resume. At the end of the day, always ensure that all these things that you are tailoring are the things that you are skilled at, you've done them before, you have an idea. But even if you don't have an idea, you make sure that you are going to learn or acquire that skill before they call you for interview. I'm not going to advise you to go for a job, to go to take on a job that you are not skilled at, and you just lied your way through the job, because whether you like it or not, by the time you start the job, that gap will show. It will show that you don't have skills in this job and you are going to be busted. And Canadian employers are not that, they are not that nice. The moment they employ you 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, you're not performing, they kick you out. They are not nice. They are not like Nigerian employers that will massage your ego. Here, they don't massage ego. The moment they say that you're not performing, they would kick you out. Canadian employers are not that nice. So save yourself the stress of applying for jobs that you are not skilled at just because you want to start earning. Take your time, tailor your resume. If you need to acquire more skills before you apply for the job, acquire it. The second culture shock for me has to be the DIY, do it yourself. I mean, I already knew that Canada and most of the Western world are very independent and there's dignity in labor over here. And I knew that, of course, here you have to do things by yourself, you know. But you don't know you don't know the extent until you actually start doing it. I was shocked because I remember when we first got here, when we just got our accommodation. We bought things. We needed to set up the house. We needed to buy television, buy all this and that and all that. So back home in Nigeria, now when you buy these things and you need to couple them together, all you need is one carpenter to come and assemble it together. But on getting here, we were still coming with that mentality of how much is it? Let's just call somebody to come and couple this thing for us now. By the time we call somebody to come and hang our television for us, and this person was charging $150 just to hang television on the wall, I knew there was a problem. I knew something had happened to me because what? I was like, babe, let's do this thing by ourselves now. What is this? Is it not just to hang TV? Put the bracket on the wall and put the TV on the bracket. But we tried, we couldn't do it, and we didn't want to damage the walls or even, break the TV, and so we had to do it. We had to do that. The shelves that we bought, the TV console, the chairs, the bed, everything we needed to couple together. Oh, I didn't know that I had that skill in me. Oh. I studied the manual, we bought tools. In Nigeria, I can't remember when last I held screwdriver, but here I went to get the tools. We screwed, we did everything by ourselves, from assembling the bed to the shelves to the TV console to every single thing we did by ourselves. When you hear things, I'm like, oh, when we get there, we navigate. We are here now, we are seeing it. The DIY is crazy. There is nobody really cares. Everybody just wants to make money. If you cost most services for free, and when I even say for free, I'm not even expecting a free service. You do it yourself. Yeah, there are some people that actually, you know, there are some people that actually do these things. They help you to clean your house. They are cleaners. Of course, you can get them, but they are just very expensive. By the time you calculate how much these people are charging, they are charging close to your salary per hour. So there's even to childcare. There's nothing like nanny. Nobody will look after your child for you. You will look after your child you will raise your children. You will raise them by yourself. Nobody then, except you bring your people from Nigeria to say, "Oh, yeah, my sister is here, my mommy is here, my dad or some." Aside that, nobody will do anything for you for free. Not even for, and it's not like cheap labor. It's not cheap. Even $18 per hour is not cheap. It's somebody's salary. It is not cheap. So why would you be working and carrying on your salary to give to a nanny or give to a cleaner or give to, I understand that sometimes you need to outsource some things. If you live in a very big house, of course you need to outsource some things if you don't want to kill yourself. I struggled with it when I won't even lie. I struggled with it. People that know me know that I'm not lazy. I'm very, very hands-on. I'm very, very hardworking. But for me to be complaining, lamenting like this, just know that it is really, really daunting. It's really, really challenging. Challenging is the word. So brace up yourself. If you are coming to Canada with kids, know that it's not going to be rosy. It's not going to be the way it was back home. It's going to be very, very different. Brace up, plan yourself. The third culture shock for me was the taxes. When we just got in and we had to went to IKEA, we went to buy some of these household items and all that. While we're shopping, I was making a mental note of because we had a budget and we didn't want to exceed that budget. So I was making a mental note of, oh, this is how much, or this is how much. So I already done the calculation in my head. Oh, everything should not be more than $500. By the time we got to the cashier and the whole thing was going to about $800, I'm like, what? Did I buy anything? Did I make another purchase? Of I was like, what's up? What's going on? And he said, oh, the taxes are mounted. So I'm like, what? I went to Walmart. I bought stuff. The taxes, tax everywhere. Tax. If you buy water, like buy a bottle water, they'll take taxes on it. I mean, I understand now. I understand why they are taking the taxes. Now because I can see for myself what the taxes are doing. That's why you need to make your research. Like if you're working and then you're earning a certain amount of money, by the time you see the taxes that they are going to take from your salary, you will be so shocked. Like what you in fact you will be so shocked. I mean, of course, coming from Nigeria, there are taxes in Nigeria, but definitely not close to what they charge in Canada. It shocked me to my bone marrow. I was so shocked because I'm like, but at the end of the day, we understand why the taxes are being taken. So it is what it is. But just know that the taxing system in Canada is very, very, very high, and it's even higher in some other provinces. In Ontario, it's still bearable. In Alberta, I know it is higher than in Ontario. So know the province you're going to. Know like make your research about the province you're going to. Know the tax rate, the income tax rate, the personal tax like grocery shopping, HST, GST. know all these things, know what gives. I know there are some provinces that the GST is 5%, but here in Canada, HST is 13%. So HST is harmonized sales tax and GST is goods and services tax. So you won't say, oh, well, I'm going to be earning 100K. By the time if they pay your salary monthly, you'll be like, how come 100K divided by 12? Isn't no, it doesn't work that way. There is taxes for everything. It's even so bad that you get tax on your income, and from that income you take money from that income to go buy groceries, you get taxed again. Government of Canada want to choke us with tax. We understand why, but it is what it is. I mean, just be prepared. Know the province you want to go to. Know what tax obtains there, and you'll be fine. The next culture shock for me has to be getting an accommodation when we got into Canada. When we got in, we were in an Airbnb for a few days before we eventually got accommodation. But nothing prepared me for the hassles of getting an accommodation because, of course, before we came, I made my research and I found out that so before you can get an accommodation, you need a reference letter or employment letter, pay stubs, you need bank statements or credit score. You need to have a good credit score before you can get an accommodation. But in my mind, I'm like, oh, we are new now. We don't have all these things yet, so we should be able to get an accommodation or something. I'm telling you, no landlord was ready to give out their house to anybody, whether you are new, whether you are not new. Nobody was ready to give out their houses to new immigrants in the first place, because I don't blame them too, because they need to pay their mortgage. They need somebody that can pay rent. You that you are just coming to Canada, you've not even gotten a job yet. How do you intend to pay your rent? How do you intend to pay your next month rent? So I don't really blame the landlord. And here you can't easily kick out tenants. You will go to court. So they always scrutinize every tenant that they get. So now I know that, but then I didn't understand. I'm like, what's going on? If you like, have 1 year rent at hand. If you are not, if you don't have a credible job, or you don't have somebody that can stand as a reference for you, you're getting an accommodation in Canada will be so tedious. So we did all that before we could get our accommodation, and and that one is one part of the accommodation issues. Like, that's one side. The other side is you have all this, and there are thousands of other people on that same property that you want to rent, and the landlord. So you submit your offers to the landlord. The landlord will scrutinize before giving out the house to whoever he or she deemed fit. So you can have all the documents, you can have reference, you can have your 6 month rent, you can have your 1 year rent sometimes, and you might still not get it out because the landlord doesn't see you fit. So there are other personal factors that they want to factor. Like, I remember when we were looking for houses, and one landlord said, oh, I don't want people that have children. One even said, oh, I don't want Nigerians. So many things. Like, it is such an hassle. You need a reference, and if you don't have a reference, the most one thing most people do is they pay 6 months rent upfront. That's to show the landlord that, oh, let me pay 6 months upfront. At least before the 6 months elapse, I would have gotten a job and I'll be able to afford my rent. So that's one thing that people do, and not all landlords accept it, to be honest. Even though the money is juicy, the offer is juicy, but not landlords accept that as well. So that's another thing that shocked me, because back home in Nigeria, if you have your money, if you have 2 years rent in Nigeria, of course we pay yearly, no monthly. So if you have your 2 years rent, even 1 year rent, if you have it full and you have you will get it. If you are looking for a house today, you get it today. Do you like that house? You like everything meets your specification? You get the house that day, or max that week you will get it. But here it is entirely up to the landlord to decide who would get their house. So it's always survival of the fittest. So some people always have people, like, they're always fortunate to have people here that help them get the accommodation before they arrive in Canada. So that's one culture shock that really hit me. So finally, The last culture shock that really got to me was, they always say Canada is a very family friendly country. They have this communal, this thing, whatever going on for them. Thankfully, I came with my husband and my kids and my daughter at the time. But imagine people that came alone, single people that came alone to Canada, nobody to talk to. The loneliness here can actually cause depression. The loneliness in Canada is really bad. Sometimes you have people around you, but everybody is working, so you are still lonely. You are I mean, you just have to be intentional. If you are single and you're coming to Canada, see, you just have to be intentional so you don't get into depression. But I remember vividly there was there was a time in my life we just got here. I was crying every single day. I was like, why did I come to this place? Everywhere would be so quiet. I was missing my family back home. I would see my friends take pictures, like hanging out in Lekki or somewhere, and I would just be like, "Who sent me?" When I think about the life I had in Nigeria compared to what I came to meet here in Canada, it's a new life at the end of the day. It's new. You are relocating. It's more like you're starting all over again. It's like you're starting afresh, right? So you don't expect everything to become rosy immediately you get into Canada. No, it doesn't work that way. But of course, I know that now. But then it was like as if the whole world was against me. From taking care of the kids, taking care of the house, being a wife, being a mom, looking for a job. Um, Several things was going on at the same time. I was missing my mom like crazy. I was missing my family. I was every day I was crying. I was always crying. And before you know it, you slip into depression. I know people that never came back from depression. I actually know some people that came here to study, but they didn't even finish the study. They went back to Nigeria because they couldn't cope with the loneliness, the quietness of the neighborhood. Sometimes you have neighbors facing you like this, but I've never seen my next door neighbor. I don't even know what they look like. Everybody just wants to work and make money. Most of the people in Canada are immigrants. They came from their countries to make money in Canada. They are not here to make friends. And I don't blame them. If you are coming with your husband and your children, good for you. At least you have somebody to talk to, right? So please be aware. Depression is real in Canada. People come here, like people come to Canada and they fall into depression and they don't come back from it. I know so many people. I have heard stories that of people that came to Canada and turned into something else. They became a shadow of themselves. So you don't want to do that. Prepare yourself, please, guys. Prepare yourself. Know that Canada is not like Nigeria. It's not like where you're coming from. It is different. It is different. Don't come and be expecting that, oh, I'll make so friends. It's not that easy to make friends here. If you are fortunate to get a job immediately, maybe you can make friends with your colleagues. Don't let go of yourself. Just hang on tight. Find other hobbies, do other things. Don't let yourself slip into depression that you now start that literally destabilize you. I remember when in January of 2023, I had my son, and my mom couldn't come into Canada at the time. My mother-in-law couldn't come into Canada at the time. My husband and I, we did everything by ourselves. And also bear in mind that my husband will go to work, my daughter will go to school. I was the only one at home with day old baby. And this is something that I've never done before. Back in Nigeria, I had help. My mother-in-law was there, my mom was there. This was entirely new for me. That postpartum depression nearly hit me. If not that I was determined that no, no, because I already planned, I knew this was going to come. Even when you have people around you, depression still sets in, not to talk of when you are alone. Bad thoughts will just be coming to your head. But I fought it. I said, no, 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 no. I cried. I will cry. I will cry. I will cry. I cried a lot, a lot. But this is me today. It just takes the extra conscious effort from you to not lose yourself, to love yourself, be yourself, and then make Have a routine that works for you. Create your own happiness. Don't wait for people to create your happiness for you. Create your own happiness. Coming to Canada, you have something you want to achieve. Focus on that thing. Focus on the drive. Don't just come to Canada like an headless chicken. You don't have something you want to achieve. Channel your energy to something that will make achieving your goals very fast rather than dwelling on depression. Don't even fall for that. It's a trap. Trust me. That thing is a trap. Don't fall for it. I almost did, but I thank God I was able to quickly get myself out of it. But don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. Another thing that I would like to say is that some people come to Canada with unrealistic expectations. They come to Canada with some weird expectations. They say, oh, I want to buy a house in 6 months. Oh, I want to buy a car in 1 year. Oh, I want to, they give themselves unnecessary pressure. And sometimes some people allow unnecessary people or even some people that matter in your life to put you under pressure. Why? For what? You should not pressure yourself. So many pressure from back home. There's this thing called the black tax. In my own opinion, if you're not fit to give black tax yet, let them know. Don't pretend like you can give it and then get stuck. You need the money more here in Canada than back home. Those people back home will be fine. You need the money here first. You need to sort. There are so many bills you need to pay here. There's a light bill, water bill, the your phone bill, your internet bill, cable, everything you pay for. You are always paying your rent. You pay rent monthly. So if you are not fit to start giving black tax, please, 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 and please prioritize yourself. These are the things that people, these are the things that people do that let them fall into depression. By the time you can't pay your rent here, you begin to think your black tax should. When I say black tax, I mean sending money to your people back home. Know when to start. Don't just say, oh, because I'm not earning in dollars, that now is a good time to. I'm not saying you shouldn't help your people back home, but know when to start, know your limits. Another thing I would like to say is please always plan to acclimatize. Like, I know somebody that cannot eat anything that is not bought from African store, and we all know that African store is very expensive compared to, like, for example, okra. Okra is in malls that they will sell okra for you $4, $3. But some people they cannot eat. They will say, "Oh no, it's Oyibo okra." They want to eat Nigerian okra, so they go to African store where where they are selling okra $6, $7. That $4 difference is a lot. I know some people that they spend so much on African foods. Please, there are so many there are so many stores, so many malls that sell exactly the same thing that African stores are selling. As a matter of fact, some African stores will go to this mall, buy these things for cheaper, and then come bring them to their store and sell it for ridiculous amounts of price. These are the things that would help you save money. Know when to start using, know how to use your credit card, know how to, act, because this place is a credit society. Know the kind of credit you need. It's not all credit you need. Know the kind of credit you need. Some people will come to Canada today. The next thing they are going to buy, they want to start financing and they will not finance car that is small. They will start financing big cars, 2024 model. You don't need that yet. These are the things that would make you fall into depression eventually because you're already here. You're already accruing so many debts that you don't even need yet. That's not the way to build credit score. There are other ways to build credit score. I feel like that's an entirely different video that I would like to, you know, talk about. But so those are the few tips that you need to survive in Canada as a new immigrant. So we've come to the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you picked one or two things. I hope you learned one or two things because at the end of the day, this is what my YouTube channel is for. I started my YouTube channel so that I can teach one or two things. And if you're learning from this channel, then I think I'm good. So thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.